How quickly does a normal life turn into a memory? If you walked through the bustling streets of Kyiv, the academic courtyards of Kharkiv, or the sunlit coastal avenues of Odessa just days before the world changed, you would have heard laughter spilling from crowded cafes. You would have seen children skipping home from school, clutching their backpacks, and families peacefully planning their weekend markets. Then came the dawn that split history in two. But to understand the full weight of that morning, we have to look back at the cracks that formed years earlier, back to 2014, when a revolution of dignity on Kyiv's Maidan Square upended a nation's political course. That winter marked the initial fracture, the illegal annexation of Crimea and the stealth escalation of a simmering, forgotten war in the eastern Donbass region. For 8 long years, trench warfare bloodied the east, claiming over 14,000 lives, while the rest of the world watched from a distance, hoping a fragile ceasefire would hold. It didn't. February 24, 2022. The mask dropped entirely. The international borders were breached on multiple fronts as a massive wall of armor, infantry, and air power rolled across the frontier. The pre-dawn skies lit up not with shooting stars, but with the terrifying streaks of ballistic and cruise missiles tearing through the dark toward sleeping cities. In a single heartbeat, homes built lovingly over generations were reduced to gray rubble. Entire neighborhoods evaporated into choking clouds of dust and ash. Imagine standing in the very kitchen where you cooked dinner the night before, looking up to find that your roof is completely gone, replaced by an empty, bleeding sky. In the chaotic opening weeks, millions of families faced an agonizing, impossible choice: stay and risk everything in the path of oncoming artillery, or pack a single suitcase, leave everything you loved behind, and step into the terrifying unknown. At train stations choked with tearful goodbyes, places like Kyiv Central and Lviv, fathers, husbands, and brothers kissed their wives and children farewell, knowing they might never see them again. The trains rolled westward into the fog, carrying weeping mothers and children clutching frightened pets, leaving their men behind to pick up rifles and stand on the front lines of an invasion that shocked the globe. And beneath the earth, a parallel world was born. In deep subterranean subway tunnels that once echoed with the cheerful hum of daily commuters, hundreds of thousands found a grim, dark refuge. Cold concrete floors became beds. The rhythmic, familiar rumble of transit trains was replaced by the distant, bone-shaking thud of heavy artillery slamming into the streets above. Think of the children, a generation growing up in bomb shelters, learning to distinguish the whistling whine of an incoming drone from the roar of an air defense battery before they even learned fractions in school. They draw pictures of bright blue skies and golden wheat fields, but their crayons are muted by the stark, unrelenting reality of air raid alert apps buzzing continuously on their parents' phones. Above ground, the survival of ordinary people transformed into a quiet, stubborn miracle. We watched elderly grandmothers planting potatoes in tiny patches of soil right beside bombed-out apartment complexes. We saw utility workers braving freezing winter nights under shellfire to restore shattered power grids and blown-out transformers, determined to bring light back to the dark. It is a haunting testament to human endurance, a fierce, beautiful refusal to let hope be extinguished. As the war ground forward, the map of the conflict shifted dramatically. We watched the heroic defense and liberation of Kyiv, the fierce autumn counter-offensives that reclaimed swaths of the Kharkiv and Kherson regions, and the devastating, month-long urban sieges, like the pulverizing battles for Mariupol and Bakhmut, where towns were literally wiped off the geography of the earth. We witnessed the war evolve into a high-tech nightmare of frontline drone warfare, electronic jamming, and relentless artillery duels across miles of scarred trenches. We hear the numbers every single day on the evening news. Territory gained, territory lost, supply lines cut, strategic heights secured. Square miles, percentages on a map, millions displaced across Europe, and hundreds of thousands of casualties. But behind every sterile statistic lies a universe of unfathomable grief. Every single digit represents a unique human voice that will never sing again, a hand you can no longer hold, or an empty chair at the dinner table that will stay vacant forever. It's the pair of muddy shoes left by the front door. It's an unread text message sent to a phone that will never ring again. This isn't just a political crisis or a distant historical footnote. It is an ongoing human catastrophe playing out in real time. It is the story of a sovereign nation forced to pick up the brutal pieces of its shattered identity, stitching them back together with threads of immense courage, unceasing tears, and an unbreakable longing for peace. Wars are ultimately fought with steel, iron, and fire. But they are endured with something far more powerful, something that no missile or occupying force can ever reach. The story of Ukraine isn't solely a story of destruction and loss. It is a heartbreaking, awe-inspiring testament to what happens when ordinary people are tested by the absolute worst of humanity, and somehow, they respond with the very best of it. Because long after the smoke finally clears, and long after the borders are settled, the human spirit remains. Unbroken, unconquered. If this story moved you, don't look away from it. Share it, keep their voices alive, and always remember the true human cost hidden behind the headlines. Thank you for watching.
Subscribe.